de presse virtuelle de la Commission européenne et de nous regarder aussi en direct sur Europe by Satellite. Nous sommes le mercredi 29 juillet. Nous avons quelques annonces à vous faire, and the first announcement concerns treatment for coronavirus. Yesterday, the Commission signed a contract with the pharmaceutical company Gilead for securing treatment doses or Veklury, the brand name for remdesivir. As from early August onwards, batches of this medicine, Veklury, will be made available to Member States and the United Kingdom. The Commission will coordinate the distribution of those batches. The Commission's emergency support instrument will finance this contract, which is worth a total of 63 million euros. This will ensure the treatment of approximately 30,000 patients presenting severe COVID-19 symptoms. This first batch will therefore address just immediate needs. At the same time, the Commission is also now preparing a joint procurement for further supplies of this medicine, which will cover additional needs as from October onwards. More information is available in a press release and on the Daily News. I will now call Stefan to provide you an update on the Coronavirus Response Investment Initiative, which is our crisis management instrument based on the flexible use of cohesion funding. Stefan.
Merci beaucoup, Dana. Tu m'entends?
Oui, je t'entends.
Super. Bonjour tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, la Commission donne un premier aperçu de comment les États membres ont utilisé les initiatives d'investissement dans la réponse au coronavirus. Nous avons pu constater que depuis la première proposition, les États membres ont mobilisé à une vitesse sans précédent les ressources disponibles sous la politique de cohésion. Comme vous le verrez sûrement sur votre écran, 27 pays ont bénéficié de la flexibilité accrue dans l'utilisation des fonds de cohésion grâce aux initiatives d'investissement dans la réponse au coronavirus et 18 pays ont ajusté leur programme de cohésion en fonction. Plus d'informations ainsi que des exemples concrets sont disponibles dans notre Daily News ainsi qu'une fact sheet qui sera en ligne. Je tiens à souligner enfin que ceci n'est juste qu'un aperçu préliminaire. La Commission a prévu de publier un rapport détaillé au mois d'octobre de cette année. Merci.
Pour une annonce sur l'aide humanitaire de l'Union européenne pour lutter contre les coronavirus dans le monde. Balázs.
Indeed, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Now, following a new EU humanitarian air bridge flight to finance the delivery of over 1,000 tons of medical equipment to critical areas in Africa, Asia and the Americas. Now, these operations have played an important role in alleviating the huge logistical challenges faced by the humanitarian community as a result of the coronavirus. Countries supported include, among others, Afghanistan, Burkina Faso, the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Iran, Sudan, South Sudan, Haiti, Somalia, Iraq and Yemen. Overall, we have so far carried out 45 airbridge flights. These have transported nearly 1,500 medical and humanitarian staff since the launch of the first operation on the 8th of May this year. The operations will continue in the coming weeks with several flights in the pipeline.
Thank you, Balázs. I will now call Marta for some news on the European Battery Alliance.
Good afternoon, Dana. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, indeed, we have some good news coming from the European Battery Alliance. The European Investment Bank is investing around 300 million euros into Europe's first homegrown gigafactory for lithium-ion battery cells. It's called Northvolt 1 and it's situated in northern Sweden. This will help build Europe's strategic autonomy in this key technology sector. The EIB financing is supported by the European Fund for Strategic Investments. Northvolt's batteries are designed to be used in automotive, grid storage, and industrial and portable applications. Ramping up to full capacity, Northvolt 1 will produce 16 gigawatt hours of battery capacity per year in its initial phase, to be scaled up at a later stage to potentially 40 gigawatt hours. This new gigafactory is already under construction, and it will use 100% renewable energy in its production process, leaving a minimal carbon footprint. And just a very quick reminder of the latest figures regarding the European Fund for Strategic Investments. As of June, this fund is expected to mobilize 514 million euros of investments, of which 14.3 billion is in Sweden. And more news on this initiative is, of course, available in our daily news. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marta. This concludes our announcements for today, and we open now the floor to your questions. So let me see. I see an interest from the colleague from Gazeta Wyborcza. Please go ahead.
Yes, hello, that's Tomasz Bielecki of Gazeta Wyborcza and Deutsche Welle. I have a question regarding yesterday's information tweeted by Commissioner Dalli regarding 6 Polish towns, which the applications of which for the twinning projects were refused because of the LGBT ideology-free zones. My question is simple: what are these 6 Polish towns?
Thank you very much for the question, Tomasz. The answer will come from Adalbert.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm afraid I am not at liberty to disclose the names of the 6 cities that were rejected. As a matter of fact, while we have the obligation to disclose the names of the selected applicants to a program funded by the EU when the selection process is finalized, we do not disclose the applicants who were rejected to get EU funds. And this is really a principle of equality of treatment that is at the heart of our selection processes. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to disappoint you on this front.
Thank you very much, Adalbert. I will now invite you to ask additional questions to Adalbert if you have any. I think that Tomasz has a follow-up because I see his hand still raised. Yeah, that's me. Because the European Commission, in fact, the Commissioner Dalli herself revealed the information about 6 Polish towns. So we have blaming and shaming without naming. So are you sure the European Commission is not willing to reveal these 6 names? It's not very transparent, to be honest. We have number 6, we have Poland, and no names. It's a bit strange and disappointing, honestly. Thank you. I understand, Tomasz. Adalbert will attempt to provide further reassurance that this is because of the rules that guide us when making the selection. But yes, Adalbert, please go ahead if you have anything to add.
That is correct. What I can add is that all the... Sorry, I was cut off. What I can add is that all the information about this selection process, as well as about the number of applicants who have applied and the list of those who have been selected is available on the website of the relevant executive agency. This is the Education, Audiovisual and Culture Executive Agency. So I would invite you to have a look at that. And of course, if you have any further questions about the procedure, whether in general or in this specific case, we are also at your service to answer any further questions.
Thank you very much, Adalbert. I hope this will be a satisfactory answer for Tomasz. Are there any additional questions for Adalbert on this matter or on any other matter that he covers? And this week he covers a lot of matters. So I see a question from Luis and a question from Anne. Are these for Adalbert? If so, please keep your hand raised. If not, yes, you unraised your hand, that's clear. But I think Katarzyna has a question for Adalbert because her hand is still raised. So Katarzyna, go ahead. Katarzyna, we you, but hear you, unfortunately. So you need to activate your mic and to press speak. We still cannot hear Katarzyna. If you could try again. Unfortunately, we lost sound and video of Katarzyna. So we will try to go back to her later. In the meantime, I see that Luis maintains his interest in asking a question. So Luis, please go ahead. So, Luis, we can't hear you or see you. Now we have some image. Yes, go ahead. We lost you, Luis. No video, no audio.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, let's try again. In May, the General Court, this is a question for Ariana. In May, the General Court annulled a European Commission decision about a merger in the UK telecoms market. It was a merger between Hutch and O2, Hutchinson and O2. The Commission vetoed it and the court overruled the Commission. It's now appeal time, or the appeal time is approaching. Can Ariana say if the European Commission will appeal against this decision to the Court of Justice? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luis. Ariana?
Thanks, Dana, and hi, Luis. Indeed, the Commission has decided to appeal before the European Court of Justice the General Court's judgment of 28th May of this year in the CK Telecoms case. In its judgment, the General Court, as you were rightly saying, has annulled the Commission's decision of 11th May 2016, prohibiting Hutchinson's proposed acquisition of O2 UK. The General Court judgment raised important legal issues, such as the legal test for gap cases, which means cases where a merger raises horizontal concerns short of the creation or strengthening of a dominant position. It has also raised important legal issues as concerns the role of efficiencies, the standard of proof, the value of the Commission's economic assessment, and the boundaries of the General Court's judicial control. The Commission respectfully considers that on these issues the General Court made a number of errors of law and is asking the European Court of Justice to set aside the General Court's judgment in that respect.
Thank you, Ariana. Does anyone else have questions for Ariana today on this topic or on any other topic? I do not see any hand raised, so thank you, Ariana. And we now open the floor for other questions. I see Katarzyna has her hand raised, so we try to connect again. Katarzyna, let's see if it works. Katarzyna, are you there?
Katarzyna,
yes.
are you there?
I can see you. That's a good start. Unfortunately, Katarzyna, we cannot hear you. But we can see you. So we can, you can try again to activate your microphone. You can also type a question in our chat, in our system, and if we have no other choice, we will simply read it and answer it, though we would prefer to hear your voice. or we can come back to you later. So in this case, I will give the floor to Anne Sarah. I hope you can connect. Yes. Unfortunately, we can see you, but we cannot hear you. So I hope we don't have a broader system problem. Try again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now we have your sound. Please go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. I have a question regarding Brexit. From what I understand, the informal round of negotiations in London has just concluded today, or will conclude today. And I was wondering whether you had any news on the level playing field, state aid, and on fisheries. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Ariana will join me for providing you an answer.
Thanks, Dana, and hi. So what I can say is that in line with the addendum of the terms of reference, which I remind you is available online since the 12th of June, the Commission Chief Negotiator Michel Barnier and the Commission negotiating team has indeed travelled to London at the beginning of this week, as I had already the occasion to say in the past days, and has met with the UK Chief Negotiator David Frost. This, as you know, has followed the round that took place last week in London, and if you want more information on that round, you can refer to the statement by Michel Barnier that we have published at the end of that round. The specialised session of this week between the EU and the UK teams took place yesterday, 28th of July, always in London. The UK continues to engage sincerely and constructively in line with the mandate from the Member States and the European Parliament. What I can add is, as I had the occasion to recall yesterday, that the next round of negotiations will take place in the week of the 17th of August in Brussels, as set out in the addendum of the terms of reference. The negotiating teams will, of course, remain in contact over the next days. I'm afraid I cannot add more on the specific aspects of the negotiation, as I mentioned the other day, and I would still have to refer you to Michel Barnier's statement of last week.
Thank you very much, Ariana. In order to make it easier for people to follow us on EBS, we will group all the questions by topic. Therefore, we'll stay with Brexit. If there are any additional questions on this issue for Ariana, please let me know and keep your hand raised. Otherwise, please unraise your hand. So, Anne, if I understand correctly, you have a follow-up question because your hand is still raised. If that's the case, please take the floor.
Yes, I had just a follow-up regarding the Northern Irish Protocol. Just yesterday, a UK junior minister said that the UK intends to implement the protocol in a very flexible way, which includes no exit declarations for goods going from NI to GB, and also no rules of origin requirements for NI goods. And so I was wondering what the Commission makes of this, and what is the impact of these statements on the negotiations?
Ariana, do you have any comment to make at this stage?
I'm afraid no, I have no comment on this. What I can say is once again that the EU continues to engage in these discussions constructively and in line with the mandate we have. So for the moment is all I can say.
Thank you, Ariana. I think that Jacob might have a question on Brexit. If that's the case, please go ahead. No, I understand that it's not on Brexit. So I will ask if we have other Brexit questions before going to competition-related questions. Any other questions on Brexit? Perhaps Anna Vandensky has a question on Brexit. Is that the case? Because I see your hand raised. Anna? No, you unraised your hand, so it was obviously not on Brexit. Then we go to competition-related questions, which are also for Ariana. So, Jacob, please go ahead.
Hi, Ariana. I had a question just on the Hungarian media freedom file. So as you might know, there was a complaint made through an MEP question concerning a decision by the Hungarian Competition Authority to greenlight the creation of KESMA, which brought together 400 media outlets. At the time, Commissioner Vestager said that the EC could not assess whether KESMA holds a dominant position in some media markets, but that it would continue to assess the situation. I was just wondering, given the events of the past few weeks, if the Commission is revisiting that file.
Very much. We have already had a chance to talk about media in Hungary in the past days. On KESMA specifically, indeed last summer the Center for Media Pluralism and Media Freedom published an update on media pluralism in Hungary. The report was requested by the Commission and confirmed that the creation of the Central European Press and Media Foundation, KESMA, presents a risk to media freedom in Hungary. And this risk was indeed confirmed by the latest Media Pluralism Monitor published on 23rd July. The Commission is aware of the concerns and continues monitoring the risk of media freedom in the EU in a comprehensive and timely manner. On the creation of KESMA, from let's say a competition perspective, which was your question, indeed on the basis of the available information, the creation of KESMA itself, as well as the concentration of media outlets, fall outside the Commission's jurisdiction under the EU merger regulation. The European Union is founded on the values of democracy, human rights and rule of law, on free and pluralistic media. Press freedom is vital to hold governments accountable and to monitor democratic process. For these reasons, the Commission will continue monitoring the situation, the general functioning of the media markets and compliance with these rules by Member States.
Thank you very much. So on media freedom and pluralism, of course, the matter has many, many angles, competition and state aid being just one of them. Does anyone else have questions for Adriana on this matter? I understand that Oliver has a question, and I hope from the bottom of my heart, Oliver, that we can hear you. We've been having problems hearing you over the past days, so let's give it a try. Oliver.
Whoops. Hello, does it work now?
It does.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
It does.
Do you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
So thank you to Mr. Jobs' legacy company, because apparently on the iPad it works, whereas on a Lenovo machine it doesn't. Anyway, sorry, Ariana, did I understand you correctly right now that the creation of KESMA is not a competition, merger, whatever issue for the Commission? Because if I understood that correctly, it would mean that you would actually have to close that inquiry. Can you please elaborate on that? And then later on I have a question on Serbia, media freedom and enlargement, but I think that's somebody else's remit. Thank you.
Hi, Oliver, and thank you for giving me the occasion to clarify if I wasn't very clear on this. What I said is that the creation of KESMA falls outside the jurisdiction under EU merger regulations. As you know, merger regulation is a different topic from state aid control. State aid control is a different matter, and what we have been discussing in the past days is complaints in the area of state aid. And on this, if I can go back on the topic, indeed, since the receipt of the first complaint in 2016, the Commission has been in continuous contact with the Hungarian authorities on state aid allegations made by the complainant. These contacts are ongoing, and the Commission can, of course, not prejudge the outcome of these contacts. I can also add, perhaps, that state aid to public broadcasters is assessed under the Commission's broadcasting communication, which, for example, seeks to ensure that the public broadcasters are not overcompensated for the service that they offer. And also, these guidelines, this communication offers guidance on the definition of the public service remit, while leaving a very broad discretion to member states. In the case of Hungary specifically, a state aid assessment is an assessment of existing aid, which is subject to specific cooperation procedures between the Commission and member states. At the same time, once again, media freedom and pluralism raise many important issues that go beyond the remit of EU state aid control. The Commission fully supports media freedom and pluralism within the scope of its competences through various initiatives. But under the treaty, it is the primary responsibility of member states to take action to protect media freedom and pluralism.
Thank you, Ariana. I think Oliver has a follow-up question for you. Oliver, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, thank you for this. Did I understand you correctly? The creation of KESMA, of a massive, well, call it cartel, foundation, whatever, a group of hundreds of media that are pro-government, that's not an issue for the Hungarian media market. It doesn't distort competition in the Hungarian media market. And secondly, upholding media freedom being a matter of the member states. What if you have a member state that is actually limiting media freedom and is actually going against media freedom? How do you solve that problem?
Ariana. So I will reply to the first part of the questions, if that is okay, and I will leave my colleagues to answer the more general media pluralism question. Once again, I did not say that the creation of KESMA would fall outside competition rules. What I said is that it's outside the scope of the EU merger regulation specifically. Of course, KESMA is subject to competition rules, be it national or EU level, including antitrust matters, and clearly is subject to state aid control in general, but let me clarify that none of the complaints we have relates to KESMA specifically in the field of state aid.
Thank you very much. On media freedom and pluralism in general, I will invite Adalbert to present our position. As we have said repeatedly, competition is just one of the angles which is certainly important, which we are looking at in respect with media pluralism and freedom. There is much more, and I will invite Adalbert to elaborate on that.
Thank you very much. And indeed, I can add a few elements to what Ariana mentioned. So Ariana already referred to the numerous projects that we fund in order to support media freedom and media pluralism. We have ongoing and upcoming projects and calls which represent just over 21 million euros, and they include projects that aim to map violations of media freedom, that defend journalists, that support collaborative journalism, and include also funding for independent studies, such as, for example, the Media Pluralism Monitor. But secondly, we also provide support on the legal framework side. And in particular there, I can refer to the new rule of law mechanism, where one of the principal areas of focus is media pluralism. And there is now a yearly cycle of monitoring on the rule of law, with the first reports covering all 27 member states that will be available in September. In addition to that, the Commission is also currently working on further initiatives as part of the European Democracy Action Plan. Then there are also elements that are relevant that will be explored as part of the Digital Services Act package regarding the market power held by the platforms. There are also revised Audiovisual Media Services Directive rules, which cover several relevant aspects, and more, which we can explore with you in more detail. And then finally, there is also support that the EU provides via the economic response and recovery packages for the sector that helps to weather the crisis. And in this context, we encourage member states to make the most out of this support for the media sector, while, of course, respecting its independence. So quite a lot of different elements there.
Indeed, thank you very much, Adalbert. So the bottom line here is that within the limits or the remit of its competences, the Commission does a lot in order to help ensure the protection of media freedom and pluralism in the member states, but under the treaties, the member states themselves are primarily responsible for ensuring media freedom and pluralism. So this is what we have been trying to say from the various angles that this very important question has. I see Jacob has a follow-up question for Ariana. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hi, Ariana. Again, just one clarification. At the time when Commissioner Vestager answered that question, she said that on the basis of the information available to it, the EC could not assess whether or not KESMA holds a dominant position in some media markets. I want to know if is that still the view of the Commission?
I think, as I said, from an antitrust perspective, KESMA remains subject to all national and EU rules. On the views specifically, I will have to get back to you on this. What we have now in general is no state aid complaint which relates or involves KESMA, this I can confirm, and it's not subject to our EU merger regulation. Apart from that, I'll have to get back to you.
Thank you very much, Ariana. I think Mose has a question on this same subject. Mose, please take the floor.
Anna. Well, I think my question is at least indirectly linked to the previous questions about media freedom. It concerns more the relation between copyright legislation and, let's say, the freedom of expression. It is prompted by a recent case in Sweden where a book was chased by the police because it made use of a picture which was protected by Swedish copyright legislation, although the picture was changed. So I would like to ask more generally if, let's say, the recent copyright directive from last year in the digital single market, is there something about this issue, whether what happens, let's say, if let's say intellectual work, say a picture protected by copyright that is being changed for reasons of parody or satire, if that is also protected. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question, Mose. This is not for Ariana. This would fall more in the remit of Johannes. I try to establish if he has anything to say by way of immediate response to you, or if he's coming back towards you later with an answer. It's the latter, so Johannes will be in touch with you after looking at the question that you raised in relation to copyright issues. So thank you, Ariana. Mose, you have a follow-up? Or a different question? No, it doesn't seem to be the case, or is it? Hard to establish. The system is playing tricks on us today. So Mose, if you want to ask another question, please go ahead.
No, I don't have for the time being. Okay, another time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mose. Any additional questions for us today? If you do have questions, please let me know by raising your hand. Oliver. Oh, I am afraid, Oliver, your mic doesn't work this time.
Sorry. Does it work now?
Yes.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes.
Super, sorry, I switched off the mic in the meantime. Sorry, yeah, it's on Serbia and enlargement, and basically also media and the rule of law. The Serbian anti-money laundering unit of the Serbian Finance Ministry started a widespread inquiry into dozens of media organizations, NGOs, and so forth, asking them for financial information, bank account information, and so forth, under the pretext that they want to find out whether they are financed by terrorist organizations. There's widespread criticism of this measure because it looks as though this is a way of silencing the critical media, independent media, and the remnants of any kind of dissidents and opposition you have in Serbia. Is the Commission aware of this? First question. Secondly, what does the Commission think about this? And thirdly, given the pre-accession funding Serbia gets, how much of your pre-accession funding goes to anti-money laundering efforts in the Serbian Finance Ministry? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oliver. Yes, we are aware of the situation that you described, and Anna will attempt to provide answers to your various specific questions. Anna, I hope you can hear us.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So, Oliver, thank you. I can tell you that we are, of course, following closely the reports on a request issued by the Administration for Prevention of Money Laundering for information on financial flows. And
there is a problem with the sound coming from Anna's computer, so we will try to reconnect to have a better sound. This should take a few seconds. Anna, you can try again to connect yourself and to speak.
Can you hear me? Yes? Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Background sound? Yes. I think it's
okay. Thanks. Okay. So, Oliver, we are.
A sound problem. You can try again, Anna, to see if you can minimize somehow this background noise, which obscures your answer. And if we don't manage to do that, Anna will go back to Oliver bilaterally to provide an answer to the questions that he asked, but we'll try again. So, Anna, please go ahead. Let's hope that this time it works and we can hear you well. So yes, I think that we lost Anna for now. Anna, are you still there? So we are unable to have Anna live today to these questions, though she's trying again, I understand. Anna, can you give it another try?
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, now we hear you.
Yes,
now we hear you.
Oh, this is so frustrating. Okay, we'll give it another attempt. Thank you. I'm so sorry for these technical problems that I've been having. So, Oliver, thanks for your question. We are following closely the reports on a request that has been issued, we understand, by the Administration for Prevention of Money Laundering for information on financial flows and also other banking details of a number of entities and physical persons, including media outlets and ONGs. We expect further information from the relevant authorities on the request, including information regarding the selection criteria. We have to say that fighting money laundering is an important pillar of Serbia's EU integration. At the same time, we're also clear that an empowered civil society is a crucial component of any democratic system, and as such, it should be recognized and treated as such by the state institutions. Civil society organizations and human rights defenders play a key role in raising awareness about civilian and political rights, and they need to be able to operate freely.
Thank you very much, Anna. We managed to get to the end of your answer without technical problems, which is good. So are there any additional questions for Anna today on this topic or anything else that she covers? If that's the case, please raise your hand. I don't see any hand raised at this stage. So, therefore, thank you very much for your questions today. Yes, apparently there is a question in the chat, but I do not see it. So, which makes me believe that this is as far as we can go today. So if any of you has additional questions, you can contact us bilaterally, because I see no other questions for us today. So in this case, we are going to see each other tomorrow. An additional question is supposed to be on its way, indeed. And the question is for? No, I don't. I don't see anything in the system. So today we do have issues. So apparently we have a question from Emmanuel for Peter, but he couldn't connect to ask his question or to put it through the chat. So it is a question through SMS, which I will try to read out briefly. So the UNHCR denounced today that Libya is not a safe country where to return migrants to, underlying how people detected by the Libyan Coast Guard are often detained in places where they face daily abuses and appalling conditions. It appears clear that the EU and its migration policy is questioned by the UNHCR. Have you anything to say about that? The EU trained the Libyan Coast Guard to stop people who are treated against any respect of fundamental rights and values. Are you going to revise your migration policy in Libya? Thank you. So this was a question from Emanuele Bonini, and Peter will try to provide a short answer.
Thank you, Emanuela. It's a challenge to provide a short answer to so many aspects you raised in your question. But first of all, maybe I'm a positive person, but I would like to disagree with your interpretation that the UNHCR report is criticizing the EU or our policies. The UNHCR is describing the situation, the dire situation of the migrants who are embarking on a very risky and dangerous journey and desperate journey from their homes in Africa, through Africa, towards the coast of Africa, north coast of Africa, and trying to reach Europe. The report basically mirrors our assessment of the journey they are making. It's a very risky, desperate journey, and that's why in our migration policies, and this is maybe also for Adalbert to explain more, we are focusing first of all on saving lives, so that people do not have to go on such journeys across the continent, and they don't have to do the desperate attempt to cross Mediterranean to reach Europe. It has various layers, this effort of ours. We work with partner countries in Africa. We work with partner governments. We are helping them with border management. And we are focusing on tackling the root causes as well. So this is very important. The aspect, when you asked about our cooperation with Libya, of course, we don't consider Libya to be a safe country, because Libya is in a situation of ongoing conflict, which is a very bad conflict. It's not it's not becoming better. It's getting actually even worse. And that's why we are saying that the first task to do in order to tackle the dire situation of the migrants and people stuck in Libya and in the detention centers is to find the solution to end the conflict. This is the main task and main priority. Once the solution for the conflict is found, once a political settlement is found and ceasefire established, then you can tackle step by step, one by one, all the other problems, including the situation of the migrants in Libya and in detention centers. Detention centers is something which we reject, and we've been calling repeatedly for closure of the detention centers, and we are working with Libyan authorities to make this happen. UNHCR is one of our important partners in our work in Libya. As you know, the EU is not on the ground in Libya in terms of dealing with the migration issues, so we are relying on international partners. UNHCR is one of them, and we are working very closely. So we are aware of the challenges, we are aware of the problems, we are trying to tackle them. And we are discussing also with Libyan partners how to make sure that the rights of people are guaranteed and protected. But as I said, specifically regarding situation in Syria, the main task not only for us, the EU, but also for all the other international actors, is to find the solution to the ongoing conflict. Because once the solution is found, then we can also deal with other problems, including the situation of the migrants.
Thank you very much, Peter. This concludes our midday briefing of today. I wish you a good afternoon and see you tomorrow.